Spider-Man 2099 is a far-flung future version of Spider-Man that is very vicious, and he ends up in these weird time travel adventures where he ends up in timelines that are not his own. The Maestro is an evil version of the Hulk, basically in a far-flung future where the Hulk is the last man standing and decided to rule over the world with an angry beard like he's Hulk Santa Claus. During the original Spider-Verse event, Spider-Man 2099 came to the current time to help the superheroes battle against the villains. But when he tried to return home to his timeline, he didn't exactly return to his timeline. This is Comicstorian. I take comic books, I turn them into audio drama so that you know what's going on in the world of comics. And this is a bit of an older one. This is actually the Spider-Man 2099 2014 run that tied into the original Spider-Verse event. This is issues 9 and 10, where he ended up in, not exactly the correct timeline. After helping the other Spider Totems fight against the Inheritors in another Spider-Verse event, Miguel O'Hara was finally returned to his own timeline. But he arrived to find New York destroyed. He throws his hands up in shock as he looks around the destroyed city, thinking about how everyone that he has ever known is dead. But that's when he hears a sound behind him. He moves just as a laser blast is fired over his shoulder, and he falls to the ground with two hunters standing over him, one of the hunters leaning down to examine the body. "No marks on him. Wonder where I hit him." But Miguel reacts fast, grabbing the man by the throat. "You didn't! I'm fast! Really fast!" He growls as he lifts the man off of the floor, throwing him into his buddy. He stalks forward, standing over them as he threatens them with his talons. "You're going to tell me what happened, and if you don't, I swear to God I'll kill you." The men explain that they're from the nearby camp and they were sent out to find resources. Miguel thinks about it for a moment before lifting them up and ordering them to take him to the camp. "Try to run, and you won't get 10 feet, he tells them, and the men agree, beginning to lead him through the destroyed landscape around them. But when they finally arrive at the camp, the hunters are shocked to find it empty. "There are people living here?" Miguel asks in shock as he sees the destroyed buildings. The trio moves forward cautiously, but stops as bolos fly out of the shadows, wrapping up the hunters. Miguel whirls around, finding a group of soldiers aiming their weapons at him. "And who are you supposed to be?" he asks, but the soldiers wave their weapons and order him to surrender. "Not happening," he growls, blaster fire filling the air as he leaps over the rounds and into the midst of the soldiers. He disarms them, knocking them to the ground, but a blast suddenly hits him from behind and he's thrown into the air, slamming hard into a nearby rock. He groans as he looks up to see an elderly Hulk standing over him. "Spider-Man? After all this time? Can it truly be? Nice costume, by the way," Maestro says as lightning cracks behind him. Miguel struggles to his feet, shocked to see the villain that he met in an alternate timeline. "Maestro? What are you doing here?" Miguel gasps, and Maestro is confused that Spider-Man knows him, and Miguel realizes that the Hulk believes that he is Peter Parker. "How did you get here?" he asks, demanding to know if Spider-Man got here through time travel and if he can return to his own time. "We may be able to do each other a service if you travel back. Take me with you," he says with a smile. Miguel nods, agreeing, but Maestro suddenly lashes out. Miguel leaps into the air, avoiding a blow that would have crushed him. "Do you think I'm a fool? You would never agree so readily to take me back unless you were lying. I do not like being lied to," Maestro bellows as he presses his attack, Miguel leaping over his head, kicking out and hitting the Hulk several times. But Maestro reaches out, grabbing him by the leg, slamming Spider-Man back and forth, crashing him into several rocks until Miguel can feel one of his ribs breaking. Maestro turns around, ordering his soldiers to bring Spider-Man with them. Spider-Man's broken body is thrown over a pack animal as Maestro mounts the weird bullcat rat thing that he rides. "So how did you arrive in this time anyway?" Maestro asks nonchalantly as they all begin to ride away. "Was it a time travel device of your own invention, or were you sent here by an enemy? Are you even conscious?" Maestro asks, and Miguel finally begins to gasp out a question, asking how would it come to this. Maestro explains that humanity developed a weapon that would destroy itself, and it was all Alchemex's fault. "One thing leads to another, nukes flew, and that was the end of it. perhaps you'd still have a chance to see it. In time, they arrive at the villain's castle, bringing Miguel down into the dungeons where he believes Spider-Man's condition will have an effect on another prisoner that has refused to help him. Specifically what I've done to you. Hopefully, it'll make her more cooperative. He says, throwing Spider-Man into a cell and shutting the door behind him. Miguel struggles to lift himself up in the darkness of the cell. It's you. I don't believe it. A voice calls out, and Miguel finally looks up, groaning before sinking back to the floor. Strange. He gasps at his world's sorceress supreme. She smiles at him. Nice of you to remember, she says to him, her arms and legs wrapped in chains. Spider-Man curls up on the floor with Strange asking if he's okay. I think I'm dying. Vision's blurry. Crap in my lungs. Maestro busted me up pretty bad. Wave waves her hand. Can you get over here? The binders they have on me prevent me from projecting my powers. If you can get within the circle, I can help. Miguel tries to struggle forward, but collapses. This shouldn't be here. None of this should be here, he gasps, and Strange nods, explaining that he remembers the world before all of this happened, that she is aware of the change in the timeline. Why didn't you change? Miguel gasps, and she shakes her head. It's a part of the entire sorceress gift. I'd explain it, but I'll need charts and graphs, she says, before ordering him to shoot a web line to her. Miguel fires a line, and she manages to catch it with magic. She sends a spell back through the line, and for a brief moment, Miguel thinks that he sees a devil over her shoulder. But the spell hits him hard. His body spasms. What the hell is going on in here? The guard asks as he rushes to the door, but Miguel is good again, whirling around, kicking the guard in the stomach, throwing him into the wall. With that done, Miguel turns back to Strange, and he tells her that he needs to find a way back to the year 2015 so that he can stop all of this from ever happening. He crosses the room, slashing through the ruins on Strange's chains. He frees her and allows her to melt through the metal. This is a means by which you can travel through time. Maestro has a time machine, but he can't operate it. It was created by someone else. He keeps it secured, she tells Miguel. As they begin to make their way through the castle, Strange tells Miguel that the time machine is in Maestro's trophy room. Now I just hope that we don't run into any of Maestro's guards, Strange whispers as they round the corner into a group of guards. Miguel doesn't hesitate, leaping among them, slashing and kicking some while using his webs to pull away the weapons of others, not wanting them to trip an alarm that warns the rest of the castle. The guards are defeated in moments, and the two of them continue to move through the castle until they finally enter Maestro's trophy room. Holy shock! Miguel gasps as he sees all of the items from the defeated heroes, but Strange leads him forward until they're standing over Dr. Doom's time travel platform. Alright, how do I turn it on? Miguel asks as he begins to look at the tech. Strange shakes her head. That is the mystery. Maestro has been unable to do so as well. She says as she hands Miguel the remote, explaining that Maestro doesn't think like Bruce Banner anymore, and that he hasn't created anything in decades. Miguel ponders for a moment before finally getting an idea. He begins to pull the wires out of the Iron Man suits that are scattered around the room and begins to work on the platform. Work quickly! I have no more love for this timeline than you do. If you're jumping back in time, I'm going with you. Strange tells him as she looks around the room. In no time, Miguel manages to finish what he's doing, and Strange is shocked. Should just be able to fire it up in a minute, Miguel tells her, but Strange suddenly looks down as blood begins to spread from her chest, and she is suddenly lifted into the air and tossed aside, a glowing knife sticking out of her back. The Maestro suddenly appears and pulls off the hood of his invisibility cloak. Hello, Spider-Man. Ever hear of the Hood? I doubt you would have, but he had a rather impressive cloak of invisibility, Maestro says, reaching down and pulling the soul knife out of Strange's back. Rage fills Miguel as he leaps across the room, managing to quickly dodge Maestro's attack, flipping over him, landing behind the Hulk and grabbing a hold of a piece of Iron Man armor. He then uses the cannon on it to blast Maestro in the chest. A look of shock spreads on Maestro's face. He lashes out, knocking Miguel away. But before he could press the attack, he then drops to the floor and remains still, a massive wound in his chest, still smoking. Miguel doesn't wait. He steps on the platform and, bathed in light, he shuts his eyes, and when he opens them, he's once again standing in 2015. But the remote on the platform is gone, and Miguel believes that it must be temporarily locked with the platform itself. He shakes his head, leaping off into the night, prepared to prevent that future from ever happening. In the future timeline, Maestro opens his eyes and looks up at Strange, who stands over him. "Get up, he's gone," Strange says, but her face has changed. It reveals the demon that has possessed her. "You put on quite a show. How is your host doing? Still firmly in your hand?" Maestro asks the demon, and the creature smiles, explaining that it is in full control. "Now shall we continue our plan?" the monster asks, and Maestro nods. Moments later, the ancient Hulk appears in the New Mexico desert, paper blowing by in the wind, and Maestro catches it, seeing that it's Christmas Day. "Merry Christmas," he says with a smile, as he crumples the paper and leaps away to continue his nefarious plans. Now, this is just a fun little interaction between Spider-Man 2099 and the Maestro. What it actually did was bring them both back to their current status quo. Spider-Man 2099 was stuck in the present day, and Maestro, I don't know, Marvel's been doing weird stuff with Maestro for a while, but I think this links into the Old Man Logan timeline where Maestro's still around in the modern day. Don't hold me to that, though. If you know the answer, let me know down below where this went for Maestro. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this little one-off thing. It's a pretty cool little story. Spider-Man fighting the Maestro. They don't normally meet up. Like and subscribe, and I'll bring you more stuff right here at Comicstorian, and I'll see you next time right here.